Welcome to the Clemson Dubcast. It is August. Friday, August 1st. Preseason camp has begun, and we are delighted, Paul Strelo and I, to be out there. This is really the busiest time of year for us, busier than the season, as weird as that might sound. And it's because of the months-long layoff. People got to get their fix. And we have all hands on deck to give it to you. Stoked to be a part of the On3 network. And right now, if you join TigerIllustrated.com, you can do so for $1 and get a full year of access to The Athletic. That is a heck of a deal. So this podcast has been going since August of 2018, more than 770,000 downloads of more than 340 episodes. And my great friends, Blake Smith and Brooke Archenhold at Parham Smith Archenhold Law Firm, have been a part of it for every single one. They are longtime Clemson people, and they give you the experience and the results you need. Their team can help with personal injury and medical malpractice cases. They currently serve North Carolina and South Carolina with offices in Greenville, Spartanburg, and Charleston. If you or your family has been injured, I want you to help you get the compensation you deserve. Schedule a free consultation by calling 864-301-8767 or by going to parhamlaw.com. That's PARHAM law.com. Celero Commerce, formerly known as Tandem Payment, is a full-service integrated electronic payments provider powered by leading-edge technology. Celero provides a wide array of merchant solutions, simplified payments. They make onboarding, taking payments, maintaining risk management and compliance, and getting support quick and easy. At Celero, they're all about helping you achieve sustainable growth as a business. Taking payments isn't the only thing your business needs. With Celero's solutions, you can manage inventory, sell products and services via social media, schedule staff, track sales, get reports, and much, much more. Find out more about Celero at celerocommerce.com. That's CELERO commerce.com. Blackacre Law in Greenville is the closing representation you can depend on. Getting to the closing is a major milestone for anyone involved in a real estate purchase. This is the time when you're entering the home stretch of the process. The documents you sign and the check you hand over mean that you're on the verge of officially buying your new home. Last thing you want is for something unexpected to occur and put at risk all the work you've done to get to that point. That's where reliable real estate law firms such as Blackacre, a subsidiary of Parham Smith Archenhold, comes in. Take no chances when it comes to your new home. Call Blackacre today for a consultation, 864-775-5400. All right, we recently had a chance to visit with all of Clemson's assistant coaches, and we thought it'd be cool to present the uncut audio that we gathered from some of the best of those. And of course, two of the best interviews, as always, Ben Boulware, Tom Allen. We'll start with Tom Allen, Clemson's first-year defensive coordinator. Enjoy.
Yeah, I think the first phase is always the spring football piece. When you get here and you get to a new place and you're trying to establish things, and then once that concludes, then you got to set out your goals for the remainder of the summer and into training camp. So I think I had an opportunity to meet with all of our players again after the spring game. Individually, which is something I put a lot of stock in, and just to be able to continue to develop the guys individually. So that was the major goal, is once you get to know them and get the chance to see them on the field in spring ball, you get to evaluate where they're at, and then you set goals for them, in certain areas, and have their individual position coaches do that as well. And I focus more on mindset and daily habits. Really emphasize that over the summer, because that's the time when they really have the best opportunity to really develop those and build on those, because so much of it is away from the coaches more than it is during the springtime or in fall camp. So really want to see who kind of elevates themselves from a leadership perspective, but it's about really developing your body, developing your mind, mastering the system, being able to put yourself in a position to have, as I tell them, my goal is to be in the best shape of your life when you come into training camp, and then also have your best fall camp you've ever had. And so how do you do that? Well, you do that by having physically, mentally, spiritually getting yourself where you're supposed to be. And that's multi-layers, and to me, so that's the real focus was on that. And then it's just the constant accountability through that period, through our coaches, through our shrink staff, through myself, and it never ends. And so I think that's been the objective, and so we're just finishing that phase up right now. Got the rest of this week and then into next week, and we'll finish up the summer, and then they get a few days away, and then we're into fall camp.
What made Clemson the right move for you?
And my family, and that was I was pretty clear about that from the beginning, and that's just proven to be an amazing opportunity here, being so close to our two daughters and our son who's with us here, but family is really important to me. My faith's really important to me. The culture that Dabo has built here is, was pretty well established and well known in regarding to the kind of environment you would be in here as a coach, and so those things just continue to be reinforced in the decision that we made, and obviously it was a part of a great place and working for a great head coach and great people, and I really appreciate that, and it was an awesome time, but for me it was about my family, and it's proven to be an awesome thing to be able to get a lot of time together with them, way more than we ever would have had we lived in a different place, and those things matter to me.
Coach, to this point, is there an area of the defense you think is a strength and an area do you think you would like to see some improvement by the time you get to kickoff?
Well, we got a lot of work to do. I know there's a lot of excitement, as there always is, to start a season, and it's a new year, and everybody has a lot of high expectations for themselves and for their teams, and we're no different, but we got to develop depth. We really, I like the core guys that we have. But that's been a big challenge for us this whole summer, and challenge to the players. Want to be able to play a lot of guys. I want guys to feel like that every time they step on the field, they have a starter mentality. That it's not that I'm a 2 or 3 or 4. No, when I'm on the field, I'm the best player at this position. I'm representing that room when I take the field. And I want them to feel the pressure of that. And I think that's a powerful thing. And so that depth, to me, is what sticks out. We have to do a great job of being able to, attack the quarterback. But the first thing you got to do before you get a chance to affect him on third downs is stop the run. So that's been a focus since I've been here. That involves run fits. That involves tackling. That we intentionally all summer long. Obviously the summer's different than it is when we're with them here. As we will be here in fall camp. But we definitely added some things to that over the summer for the guys to work on that during the summer, which I thought was very, very important to do. And so that's going to be at the forefront, is being a great tackling defense, an area that we have to improve, must improve. And you got to be able to, get 11 guys in the football. So that's the effort piece. And that, to me, that's the one thing that I probably put the most emphasis on. Why? Because it's the one thing that every kid completely controls. Every player completely controls his effort. So those are the kind of things we want to be able to keep emphasizing as we get into camp. And that needs to be our strength, how hard we play. How physical we play, how fundamentally sound we are in everything that we do, and from tackling to gap fits to execution of what we do is really, really critical for me. So going to get some time as the schedule allows us to here. We get closer here to camp to be able to be more time with our players, and so we'll maximize that. But the bottom line is that it's about performance at this point. We've got a great opportunity ahead of us here this season, but we got a lot of work to do between now and August 30th.
Coach, you coached one of the best players in the country last season, Abdul Carter. What are some of the things you see in T.J. Parker make you think that it's some of the same qualities?
Well, at the end of the day, is can you get to the quarterback? And obviously T.J. has shown the ability to do that in the past, and so that gets you a lot of excitement. Obviously, and those guys had similar numbers, a year ago, and I think just he has a knack to be able to position himself. He's great use of his hands, great leverage on offensive blockers and tackles and whoever chooses to block him. I think that pops out to me. His relentless effort to get to the quarterback is another thing that sticks out on film. His work ethic, I just love how he works. Those are all key things that matter. I think his technique has continued to get better and better all the time. He's got a great coaching staff around him up front, and a lot of NFL experience there to work with him and get him ready to play at the highest level. So I think T.J. Parker has worked extremely hard, needs to have a great training camp like they all do. And obviously, it's like everybody else. It's about what you do on game day, And so he had a great, campaign a year ago, but he's got to be able to elevate his game and keep getting better. And that's what I expect him to do, just like, Abdul was able to have his best season of his career in his final year this past season, and that's what I expect TJ to do this year.
Coach, you talk a lot about effort. From the time that you got here, how long does that evaluation process take in terms of judging effort and who does see the field?
Yeah, I think it's never ending for me, so they're going to learn real fast here in fall camp that everything we established in spring ball, that wasn't just a spring ball thing, that's an everyday thing. And we will not be outlasted by our players in that regard. So we're going to be relentless in expecting that, everything that we do. So day 1, day 2, day 3, it's going to feel just like it did when we started spring ball. So that's the expectation. But I will say say, to answer your question, when does it show up? We were watching practice. After, I think it was even during a scrimmage in the stadium, and there was a particular play where it was like, okay, this is starting to look the way it's supposed to look. And you just saw all 11 guys just put their foot in the ground and just fly into the ball. Empty stadium, nobody's watching. All that matters is what's on the inside and how you've been trained to respond when the ball is on the perimeter or wherever the ball goes. And we saw, even Coach Swinney noticed it and mentioned it and commented and pointed out to the whole team. And to me, that was just kind of you saw, okay, these guys are starting to figure this out, and which is a pretty awesome thing.
Coach, it seemed like from the first press conference, you and Coach Swinney had such a great chemistry. In the first practice, you guys are getting together. How, in what ways or in what moments have you seen that chemistry grow, and what has that been like from the press conference until now working together?
I just think there's a lot of similarities. Even though, like I said before, we've never had spent a lot of time together. Weren't close friends by any means. Talked only a handful of times over the years and had met maybe once, in person. And so, but I just think, we read the same books. We have a lot of the same values. We have a similar philosophy on life. What's important to us, and he's a unbelievably positive person and believes to focus on things in that regard and makes that your emphasis instead of what we can't do or what things might be negative around you. We focus on the things that you can do and the things that could create the outcome that you're looking for. And so I just love being around guys like that, and so I think we have a lot of similarities, and we see things the same way. We value our family. Our faith's important to us. We're going to hold people accountable. I love, man, he's a bulldog now, and with his coaches and with our players, and it don't matter who you are, don't matter, and it's awesome to see. It's every day. It's in team meetings. It's in practice. It's before practice, during practice, after practice, and I love that about him. And like I said, I just think we have a lot of things in common, and it excites me to be around a person that shares those same things and the things he says. And I'm always taking notes from every time he talks to our guys and team meetings and staff meetings, and we have a similar mindset. We really do, and I think that's probably the biggest key. And I just think that it affects your relationships as well. And we kind of can we're on the same page with a lot of things, and we want a lot of the same things, and we care about a lot of the same things. And so I think that's a special thing, and that's an awesome thing. And so I think it also is a reason, it kind of attracted me here, just to be able to be aligned with someone like that you believe in. And I believe I can sell Clemson. Even before I knew a lot about Clemson, I could share my heart about how I feel you build relationships, how you build a team, how you build a special culture. And he and I have a similar alignment on all those things.
I remember watching Ben Boulware out here in August camp, and he was about as intense as he is on game day. Have you seen that, and what does he bring to the linebacker room? Oh, yeah, he's another one. I mean, you use that word bulldog. Man, he's a relentless guy, man. He's so passionate about football, life, holding his players to a high level of accountability, the way he held himself, how hard he played, how well he prepared and studied, to be able to anticipate and bark out, things and call out plays and anticipate what the offense is going to do and just being demanding. I love the way he coaches his guys. I mean, he's tough on them now, but you can hold people to a high level of accountability, and you can be really tough on them when they know you care about them, when they know you genuinely love them more as a person, as a player. I believe in that. I think that's critical to relationship building, to coaching, to getting the most out of guys, and I see those qualities in him. I've said before, I recruited him when he was a high school player, and just loved the way he played the game, man. It stuck out to me, the way he finished plays, the way he tackled, how hard he played, the effort piece. I love that about him. I mean, he's not the biggest guy. He knows that. We joke about that quite a bit. But, man, he wasn't the fastest guy. But, man, he was extremely, extremely effective. He was a great leader. He was a great football player, and obviously led them here to a national championship. So just being able to, have a guy in that room, the room that I think kind of drives all that, those linebackers, to me, they set the tone for our whole defense, and he sets the tone for that in that room. And so having him in there is massive for us.
it's huge for me. I know when I first talked to Coach about coming here, that was one of the things we talked about was being coaching linebackers, and so just feel like that it's a critical position for us. I'm obviously going to be in all those meetings as well, and because that's where my eyes go. That's the position I play. That's the position I coach, and that's where my heart is. But I also know that's the group that drives the defense. So he's the leader of that group, and he's doing a phenomenal job of holding them to the standard of Clemson defense.
Been here 6 months now. Similar position last year. How would you say these first 6 months have been different from your first 6 at Penn State?
Oh, I mean, I just think, coming into a defense that, was a little beat up, and rightly so. And it's just what it is. And whereas before I went to a defense that was, one of the best in the country, and so that creates different challenges. It creates different, how do you motivate? What do you do? What do you add? What do you change? What do you not change? And so, I came here and we changed everything. We changed everything. And so that was on purpose. And so I just wanted to get, a completely fresh start in every way. And so the way we called things, the way we did things, the way we practiced, playbook and everything. And so I think that, we got to have an edge about us. We got something to prove as a defense. And I watched a ton of film. I'm a film guy, and film doesn't lie, And so you go through and you watch everything, and you see what you have. And we got a lot of work to do between now and our first game, without question, So, but I love where we are, and I love the way the players have responded. I love the way they're working right now, but it's got to continue, But I think it does feel a lot different because you got to, we had a big opener a year ago. We got another big opener this year, which is awesome, but that's what makes it exciting. But at the same time, there's a lot to prove. That's probably the way to say it for me is this defense has a lot to prove on the field. And so it's really talking don't mean anything. You got to make plays on game day. You got to get those stops. You got to put yourself in position to win the game. So I just feel like that definitely a different situation that I walked into. And but the exciting thing here is there's a standard that's been set here in the past, in the recent past of playing great defense, and that's where we expect to be this season. But we got to go prove that. We got to go do it, and it starts week one, and it never stops, and it's got to be consistent. And that consistency to me is a big part of what we've been emphasizing as a staff, and those daily habits and those practice habits and those film study habits, and those things are going to show up on game day habits, and that to me is what we're really working so hard to establish. And so that's been the focus since I got here, and it's not going to stop.
Yeah, Coach Allen, those changes you're talking about, is that more of you being proactive, going to Coach Swinney saying we need to do things different, or was it Coach Swinney coming to you and tasking you that we need to change something?
Yeah, he, as the head coach, he mentioned some things that, that the film showed and the stats showed, and so he obviously had his expectations for wanting to do those, but it wasn't like he had to twist my arm to do them. There are things I saw that I felt like needed to be done, and so I get that's probably back to the previous question about the alignment that he and I have and how we see things, but it's also just, good defense is good defense, and so there's certain things you have to be able to do to do that, and so I think the film kind of showed some of those things, and so we just had to, and I just wanted to create change. I knew we had to practice different. We had to, do things a different way consistently to get a different outcome on game day. So I think it was definitely collective, and even the coaches, and I wanted to hear from them. Obviously I walked into a room where I'm really the only new guy, and so obviously we added Ben, but other than that, it's the same staff as it was here before, and so those guys, I cared about what they said, what they saw, and what they felt needed to change, and because there's a lot of power and buy-in, from a group, and I'm not just a big, hey, this is what we're going to do because I say we're going to do it. No, I like guys to be able to feel a part of that, and so I got their input on what they felt like needed to change, and obviously a coach is as the head coach is going to give his, and then together we're going to make those changes and make it work.
Coach, I know you're focused more on Clemson more so than your opponents next season. But you brought up LSU, the opener. Is Nussmeier about as good as you've seen at the quarterback position?
Yeah, he's extremely talented. I'm partial to coaches' kids. I'm one, and my son, played for me and now coaches with us, and so he's you can just tell he's a student of the game. He's been around this game his whole life and extremely accurate. No, he's a talented player. He may be the best quarterback we play the entire season. And so just a ton of respect for him and what he's put on film. And obviously the talent that's around him is impressive. So, yeah, that just definitely, that's the first opponent, so it's a 1-0 mindset. So that's the group that you focus on in that regard. And so just a lot of respect for us, without question, for him and the team that he has. And then I think, he's going to be one of the best, if not the best, quarterback we'll play the entire season. So, but I tell you what, we play a bunch of good ones. When you go through and you look at the top 10 quarterbacks projected for the NFL draft, I think what I saw in there, we got 6 of them during the regular season. So, and obviously he's one of them. So just, really good football player, great football team.
Tom, what type of answers did you get from your linebacker depth during the spring, and what answers you're still looking for moving forward into?
Yeah, I think, you have the 2 guys that have established themselves, with Sammy and Wade, and then Jeremiah coming in new. He's a guy that did a lot of really good things this spring and want to continue to see him grow and develop, and he has. He's had a tremendous offseason. He's worked extremely hard, been one of our top workers when we go through it. Even just met yesterday, and his name came up multiple times, from our strength staff and from our coaches, and watching him work this summer. I think D has had a great offseason as well. And just really excited about him. And, man, what a great mindset, great worker, cares so much. We need him. Kobe didn't practice in the spring. And that's the one there. Jamal didn't practice in the spring much, and he got injured early. And so those guys, to me, we're expecting them. We need to see them. The last 2 I just mentioned did not practice this spring, and so their fall camp's going to be huge. And so just really feel like that whole room, to me, CJ. He's another guy that's got to step up and need that depth, and even Drew's young, Wade's younger brother, but shows flashes and does a lot of great things. And so I just, to me, that's a room to me that should give us great depth on special teams, great experience on special teams, tackling in space, making plays in space. There are 2 cover units. I always consider those the first snap of the defensive series, whether it's covering a punt or covering a kickoff, and those are critical, and those should be just littered with linebackers. So to me, those guys make up that group, and I'm excited about them, but we got to have a great training camp.
On the D-line, what is TJ Parker to free up everything else because of his ability?
Well, when you have a guy on one edge, that creates disruption, that affects the quarterback, that without question is a guy that the opposing team has to have a plan for. That's huge, and that affects everybody else. You only have so many linemen. You can help those linemen with the tight end, you can help them with the running back, and schematically, or the quarterback can just try to throw off of him. So, but bottom line is that kind of player, creates, an adjustment by the offense. And so then we have a plan to be able to react to that, and so had a similar situation a year ago with a young man that they had to do that with. And so it allows you to be able to structurally do some things, and you try to use that to your advantage, and also you try to, get them to be able to, they're going to have to block them, and so hopefully they're going to feel like they got to take more than just one guy to block them. Well, if you do that, then that affects and frees up other guys, So I just think that it's a situation where, he's a great player. He's worked extremely hard. I expect him to have his best season he's ever had this year, because that's what you do when you're a great player. You just keep getting better every single year, and you just keep being more effective. And so I just think that he's got a great mindset. Love how he works. I love how he handles himself. He's a humble guy that is very appreciative of what he's been given here, and he's just proud to be a Clemson Tiger, which is pretty awesome.
What stands out about Peter as you've kind of gotten to know him? I mean, you saw him from a distance, but when you got nothing closer than that to know the person.
Yeah, I tell you, he big, powerful football player. Just can manhandle individuals. Not a lot of guys can do that in the box at this level. And I think he's a tremendous person. He's got a great demeanor about him. He's respected by his teammates. He's got a good heart for people, for others. I love that about him. And he's a worker. I think sometimes talented guys, respond to that differently. I think that, and I challenged him when I got here about, his body composition and just his weight, and just I wanted him to be lean and explosive and powerful, and felt like there's things we needed to change with that, and he responded after Coach Easton, did a great job with that, our strength staff, our nutrition staff, and just being able to allow him to have a great season, coming up, and just felt like that a guy like that, I just wanted to see him be, in elite, physical condition, so he can play more snaps and be more dominant and be more effective, and I think he's at his best, when he's inside. That's what he is. That's what he does well. So just being able to have other guys to allow him to do that. So, but just, right now it's about work ethic. He's had a great offseason. We have several guys we've targeted to be able to, elevate themselves, and he was one of them, because I think he has another level to go to from watching him on film, and he obviously did some great things last year, but I think he can play a lot better. I really do, and so that's our goal, is to get him to be playing his best football.
Talk about going to another level. Can Jaden Lucas, he's a guy that came here as a five-star guy that had big expectations, and maybe injuries or other reasons hadn't gotten there. What have you seen from him?
Yeah, so he's one of those guys where when I went through and evaluated the defense, I had him like, this guy's got all the physical traits that you're looking for, and so I met with him individually, and I gave him a comparison. I said, this is kind of how I see you, and now he was injured. He didn't practice in the spring, so I've not seen him practice yet, other than work out, those kind of situations, but anxious to see him in fall camp. And you're right, he's one of our most talented players, and he has the speed, the length, the athleticism, the vertical jump, the broad jump, all the physical traits, all the things that it takes to be great. He's a tough kid, and excited to get him healthy and keep him healthy. That's going to be a major objective for us. But yeah, to me, he's a guy that doesn't get talked about probably enough, in my opinion. But he's got to prove it. He's got to stay healthy, and he's got to go out there and make plays on game day. But I'm excited for him. I'm excited about him, and I believe he's poised to have a great season, and I expect him to. I think he's special.
You mentioned Peter being one of the group of players who wanted to sort of raise their level, something maybe that they understand, body composition, or some of the other ones.
I said, as a collective group, to me, I think Ricardo Jones was another one. I saw him as a guy that we needed to play at an elite level. I saw flashes of that. Kylan Griffin is another guy that stuck out to me, that I saw flashes. I would be watching film, and that's kind of how I do this. I go through and I watch film from the previous season, and just like, okay, this guy sticks out, this guy sticks out, and even whatever their role is, whatever they're playing, and those two guys, I was even watching film even the other day. I'm like, man, who was that guy just flashed? And it was Kylan Griffin, and so it was just like those kind of guys, and that have to step up for us to be an elite defense. I feel like that. I know he's new, but I think Will Help, to me, is a guy that he came here with a great work ethic and mindset. But when you got a guy on one side of the ball that plays a certain way like TJ does, you got to have somebody on the other side, to be able to keep them honest up front. And I think Will can be that guy. I think Cade, to me, he plays extremely hard, but I wanted to see him do some things with his body. I wanted to be able to get him bigger and stronger and be a guy that's made more plays, because his efforts is always there. But I want to see him be more productive, because that's where this all comes to me is that when you've got a defense where they just can't focus on certain guys, where you just got a whole unit that no matter who we put in there, they're going to be somebody they got to handle, they got to deal with. And so I think even Capehart, to me, is a guy that, and I haven't seen him either. We had several guys that did not get to play or did not get to practice in the spring due to some injuries, and he was another one of those. And so, but I think he's a guy that I see needs to elevate himself. He needs to be a dominant football player, and I believe he can be. Stephon Green's another one to me that flashed. I'm like, hey, this guy's athletic, this guy's explosive, this guy's he's got some different twitch to him, and to me he's another one that stuck out to me on film, and there were several, and that's what I guess it excited me about this group, that I feel like that there's another level to go to, and that all sounds great, and we got to do it, and so that's where it's about, it's not about the potential that they think you might have or what someone thinks you can do. It's hey, I want to hear, and Coach said it yesterday, which was an awesome way to say it. It's the only articles that matter are the ones that are written about how you just perform. Not the articles written about what you can do or what people think you can do or what we even as coaches think you can do. I want to know what you just did. And so how do you do that? You do it by having great daily habits. And you do that by responding to coaches challenging you, say, hey, I see this in you. And so that's one thing I try to do, just pulling guys in. And when I had my one-on-one meetings with them, just say, this is what I see that you can become. It's up to you to get there. And so those are several guys that I saw that out of.
So the biggest question about the back end of this defense is safety.
Probably that's probably the least proven. We got more guys in the box that have probably been productive and made plays. The safety position would be the one that kind of sticks out. I think Khalil Barnes, to me, can be as good as he wants to be. He's our most versatile guy, can play a lot of positions, can play the high safety position, can play the tiger, which is the nickel, can even play corner if he needed to. But he's a versatile guy, but he's one guy, and he's another guy I challenge because I feel like his ceiling is still, there's more for him to go to as a player, and he's responded, and that's been awesome to see. Worked extremely hard this summer, and I think Ronan Hannafin's another one. I know he had limited reps a year ago at the safety position, moving over from wide receiver. Got a ton of reps in the spring. This fall camp is going to be massive for him to get him ready by game one. Already mentioned Ricardo, already mentioned Kylan. I think several guys there. Those guys that came out of spring ball as our top four. Other guys are right in the mix. I mean, then there's guys breathing down their necks and on their heels and forcing them to just have to work every day because it's all about competition for me. And there's really no set positions right now. Guys got to earn it, during practice. But that probably the one position that sticks out the most would be safety. It's the least proven. But I do think that the talent is there. We just got to do a great job as coaches, and the players got to respond to be able to be in position. And when they get in those positions to make plays, they got to make them.
As president of Harris Home in Anderson, South Carolina, Scott Junkins knows all about foundations and how to cover them beautifully. His client list includes Clemson University, BMW, and Greenville's Floor Field, along with thousands of homes and businesses throughout the area. Harris Home was previously Harris Flooring, but the next logical step was to expand beyond flooring and manage complete interior renovations. Scott has assembled an expert team that completely manages every step of any redesign project, from ideas to finishing touches with both residential and commercial projects. Open the door to more by going to discoverharris.com or by calling 864-225-8631. Listen up, Clemson Tiger fans. Founders Federal Credit Union has a new office right on campus in the Hendricks Center. We're here to serve you with the financial tools you need and the personalized service you deserve. Not on campus, Founders has an office conveniently located on Old Greenville Highway. Stop by or visit foundersfcu.com to learn more and apply for a membership. Relax, you're with Founders. Federally insured by NCUA. Membership qualification required.
Oh. Good morning. Happy Tuesday. Today's Tuesday. Can y'all hear me good?
All right, do you have questions for Ben Boulware?
I saw you posted on Twitter that the motto for this year was "Let Biscuits on Break."
Absolutely. What a great song.
Where'd that come from?
I think I was just working out, and I have a workout playlist, and that one popped up on the workout playlist. I'm hitting the treadmill, and then I played it one more time, and I looked at the lyrics, and I was just like, man, that's going to be our motto this year. And so I got some shirts made for the guys, got some hats made, and I just feel like this is a small thing that the guys would like, just to have some sort of motto. And yes, I mean, and I've always listened to Limp Bizkit, so it's a freaking banger of a song. It's a great workout song, so I felt like it fit our group well.
Where did the Meathead University thing come from?
I think I made that up as well. Our group thread with the backers is called that, and I just made it up. Literally no cool story other than I just pulled it out of my butt, pretty much, yeah.
Ben, Tom Allen talks a lot about effort and fixing this year's group. Not necessarily fixing it, but improving from what wasn't there last year in terms of 2024 to 2025. Whether it's effort or talent, what do you feel like was lacking that you guys have been able to implement so far throughout the summer?
I mean, I think it's a culmination of many small things. There's not like one just like, hey, if we fix this thing, we're going to be an elite defense. There's challenges in how the guys prepared and how they worked in the off season, what they're putting in their bodies. There was challenges with coaching. There was challenges with player-led leadership. Like there's just, and the list goes on and on. You know, so it's yes, those are one of the things that we're obviously trying to improve. But I mean, for me with the guys is I would say I'm trying to help them when it comes to preparation and just like finding that next level. You know, like Wade and Sammy are elite linebackers and super talented and gifted, and I would have loved to have been 6'3", 6'4", running a 4.5. You know, I probably wouldn't freaking be sitting here right now if I was the same length and speed that they are. But for them to like, man, there's another level that you can get to being an elite linebacker when it comes to preparation, when it talks to leading the locker room, communication, and so man, like I could sit here for an hour and tell, hey, here are the 100 things that we need to improve, and there's really not one just fix, but we know of all those 100 things, and we're day by day, we're just nipping at the bit trying to fix them.
So do you feel like regardless of who the defensive coordinator is, it's more of a one-on-one? That's kind of where it starts in your mind to fix those things, if that makes sense?
Elaborate.
Like you talked about the list of 100-plus things out there that there were. Do you feel like the position coaches have the better ability to fix those things, regardless of who the DC is? Kind of.
I mean, I think it's a group effort. You know, I think what the benefit that Clemson has is we have a lot of wisdom and experience in every group. You know, like you have a lot of guys in Nick Easton's room who played elite level D-line play. Chris Rumpler. Mickey Conlon's got Nolan Turner, one of the best safeties ever played here. You know, so like there's it's obviously the position coach's responsibility to like lead his group and lead them well and hold them accountable and make sure they're working hard and doing their job at a high level. But like everyone has a part to play. You know, it's obviously Coach Allen is the head guy on the DC. Like his responsibility is to like he's responsible for the entire group. You know, and that's just like the responsibility he signed up for, but obviously us as position groups have our responsibility to lead our guys well. Our assistants have their job to help us lead them well. And then also the guys have the responsibility to like handle their business. Like, they're grown men, you know, like the way of college football has changed a little bit than how it was when I played. Like you got money involved now. This is a little bit of a business, you know, like it's not just like playing football. You know, you have a responsibility to handle your freaking business, you know, so it's not one guy's responsibility. It doesn't fall on one guy. Sometimes that happens, but man, it's a group effort to make sure we get to where we want to go at the end of the year. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Thank you.
Ben, as far as handling your business as a player, what do you think you learned from those days and obviously reaching a championship level that you now impart on the current guys coming up?
Yeah, so one of the things that, I mean, I've said this in 2016, standing on that stage in Tampa about, man, controlling the input, like controlling the things that you can control and not worrying about, man, you're 6 foot, 6'3", whether you have 50 tackles or 130, man, you got to focus on the things that are in your control. And I think that's one of the things. I spoke to CJ Cooper Taylor 2 nights ago, called me on Sunday night, just asking questions that were kind of like output. I'm like, man, you got to shift your whole focus. So you're not wrong for asking these questions, but man, don't worry about where you are on the depth chart or how many snaps you're going to get or what our vision is. Like, man, just focus on doing the work. Like, focus on when you're in there with Coach Batson and Coach D Love, like doing more than what's required or expected. And then once we get into fall camp, like, man, preparing at a high level, like coming in consistently. We got to see you like in this film room more than what we're asking you to do on your own time. And then after practice, like staying, like doing more than what's required or expected. And there were things that I did as a player that really helped me maximize the freaking short in stature Ben Boulware, but I got every freaking ounce out of me. And that's my goal for everyone in my group. But like Wade Woodaz is him probably being his last year. Him being his last year, man, it is to maximize every freaking ounce that he has in his body when it comes to preparation, when it comes to leadership, communication, work ethic, there's just so many small details that, and just little nuggets that the guys can like grab onto to help them be a better football player come game day. So yeah, man, I know what your question was, but hopefully that answered it.
No, but the output is never really a question. You mentioned the output with Tom Allen. It never seems like it's a question with him. How do you think you would have reacted to his defensive coordinator coaching during your playing days if you had him?
Say it again.
How would you react to Tom Allen if he was your defensive coordinator during your playing days? Like, how do you think that would?
There are a lot of similarities to him and Brent Venables. Like, very, very similar in coaching style. Obviously, how Coach Allen does, like, he is Coach Allen. He is not Brent Venables. Brent Venables is not Coach Allen. And I'm not Nick Eason. Nick Eason's not Chris Rump. So, like, there's similarities. Obviously, there's some differences. But I would say that it would have been a probably very similar outcome. Like, Coach Allen's an elite level coach, like super wise, great communicator, demands it out of us, demands it out of our players. And yes, I would imagine back in 13 to 16, we probably had a lot of the same outcomes. I think, was he at Indiana then, or when he got to Indiana, maybe 16 or 17? It doesn't matter. If he wasn't there and was at Clemson, it would have been probably a lot of the outcomes would have been very similar because they're very, very similar coaches.
Ben, how do you balance being a student and learning about what you're hearing these coaches take in and also mentoring these kids? How do you balance that?
I was just by being an adult. I don't know, just like doing my job, being slower to speak and faster to listen. But that's just like, thank God I have some guys like Coach Allen and Nick Eason and Chris Rump, like Mickey Kahn, Mike Reed, who have done it for a long time. You got Lorenzo Ward, who's been at DC. We got a plethora of knowledge and experience in our room. And yes, I'll say a lot of when we're in staff meetings, a lot of listening. Like just like a lot of guys that are in their 50s and 60s and have done it for a long time. And I'd be an idiot to think like, man, I've done this for 20, 30 years. This is my first year being the backer guy. Like, so I'm not going to lie and say like I'm as smart as they are. So there's a lot of listening on my part, a lot of note taking, and then when it comes to like leading the guys and like leading a segment, I would say a lot of praying and trying to be like slow to speak, because that's one of the things that I like. I've had a challenge with over the past probably 10 years of my life. I just let it freaking rip. I just like say what I want to say. And now, I mean, you're leading a group of 13 to 14 very impressionable like college dudes. You got to be super slow to speak, and you got to think before you talk. So a lot of listening and a lot of patience on my end, if that answers your question.
Is that something you got from somebody, or is that something you realized yourself?
I would say that's biblical for me. Just a lot of like reading the Bible, a lot of praying, a lot of good mentors and wise counsel in my life that have just spoken a lot of life into me. Like, dude, shut up. Like, you sound like an idiot, or that was stupid for you to say that. Like, you got to be slower to speak. And obviously, some of y'all were here in my playing days, and I had some clips. And that's like, as the 20, 21-year-old Ben, like most college dudes are meatheads. And over the past 10 years of life, it's just like I've done a lot of leading people and done a lot of communicating, and just got a lot of I have good wise counsel in my life that I have given permission to speak into me and help me be a better man, be a better husband, be a better father. So I would say that's happened from reading the Bible, doing a lot of prayer, doing a lot of listening to my wife, and then allowing guys that are older and wiser than I am to speak into me.
In terms of being slow to speak, when Dabo told us you were coming as a volunteer coach, you said you'd been a bad fan. Would you hope you'd be a better coach?
Yeah, I don't know what you mean by that.
How much was that just your passion in terms of wanting to see things be better, and is it better applied to ABS?
Yeah, maybe. I'm assuming it's because I was very vocal as a fan. Like, if we would lose a game, I'd speak up, and we win a game, I'd speak up. So, yeah, I'm obviously passionate about Clemson with my history here and my family's history here. Like my grandpa played here. I literally have my grandpa's jersey from the 50s in my office. And then my parents, my older brother, little sister, cousins. So Boulwares are very passionate about Clemson. So when we're not playing at a high level, I was, as a fan, going to speak up, and now as a coach, I'm going to definitely speak up. So that passion won't ever change.
Hey, I'm not sure I like when you looked at me when you're talking about 60-year-olds.
Yeah, really, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Come on, my bad, Rich.
But I wonder, I know you've talked about the things you learned in sports when you made the transition to be founder of the hit studio, Junkyard. What have you learned from that has helped you now as a coach?
Yeah, so I think of it like riding a bike. When was the last time you rode a bike? Actually, a bike on the side of the road.
Yeah, that's been a while.
Been a while.
Yeah.
So imagine that it's taken you, you've ridden a bike in a couple of years. Say it's 5 years, you didn't ride a bike. But throughout those 5 years, you've done a lot of things like changing a bike tire or learn how to change the brakes on a bike. And every single day, man, you're learn how to change a tire or learn how to grease the brakes up or tune up the bike. And also imagine when you used to ride a bike, you were the best bike rider in the country. You were the MVP of riding bikes. And it's been 5 years since you've ridden a bike, but over the past 5 years, you've done a lot of things to improve your craft on bike riding. So if I asked you today, could you go ride a bike? You say, damn right. I'll ride the freaking mess out that bike. And that's the same for me, man. It's been a couple of years since I've been involved, but over the past couple of years in life, I've done a lot of leading people. Our business, we have 70 employees. Leadership's leadership. Leading people's leading people. And communicating's communicating. And holding people to a higher standard and demanding it, whether it's in this or whether it's you're a freaking doctor, leading people and demanding excellence, that is transcendent amongst many professions, So I think that's really for me, I ain't ridden that bike in a couple years, but over the past couple years, I've been learning how to change the hell out of a tire, and I can go ride that bike. Y'all gonna see I'm gonna ride that bike, and I did it in spring, and I'm gonna hop on it in a couple weeks and ride it for miles. And it's allowed the transition to be super smooth.
To that point, when that door opened again, having the break, having the time to step away, what was it like for you? And kind of walk me through how that door opened for you, just the excitement when you got
with the role.
Yeah.
Yes, one I would say is super thankful and appreciative of Coach Swinney. I'm well aware that situations like this and kind of CJ Spiller, those don't happen a lot. And so one, man, just very thankful for him for believing in me and giving me the opportunity to lead the linebacker room. But yeah, man, just whew, I'm gonna cry. I'm gonna drink my coffee so I don't cry. But I would say, man, just it's full circle for me. It was cool. It was really cool. And
because this place means something.
Yeah, man.
Always has.
Oh, it's too early on a Tuesday for me to be tearing up, man. But it was cool. It was cool. Freaking weenie. Oh, little baby. A lot of y'all saw me play, so
we saw your channel.
Yeah, man. So to now,
how do you go about
be back in this position is cool. It's just a full circle for me, and no other way to explain it other than just thankful for the opportunity.
When did you think you wanted to do it? When did
over the past couple of years? Yeah, well, me and Coach Swinney had talked over the past couple of years, and timing and opportunity wasn't right, and then we talked again in probably June of this past year. He's like, man, just come help out. Just come and go as you please. And then so doing it for a season and learned a lot, and then just like getting offered the opportunity to like be the backer guy. I mean, like the 50-year-old Ben would regret deeply not. I mean, like obviously making a very massive life change, but God, he would be full of regret if he didn't just jump in head first to this. So the itch has always been there, but it was a timing thing for me. It was like an opportunity thing for me, and it just like when he offered me the job, it was perfect. I just like, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Watching in the spring, the passion's still there.
Yeah.
It's just no longer you hitting people, you're teaching people how to do it. Just being not that far removed from where these guys are that you're working with, how does that translate to Sammy Brown and Willie Diaz?
Yeah, I would say there's challenges on my end. I guess I'll talk about the challenges first. The challenges for me are just balancing it well with me being 30. Like I have to multiple times with talking to Wade Wood-Ass, who like I love Wade, like just good dude, super like an elite athlete, but just like cool people, like a really good guy. And one of the things that I've legitimately had to do is like, I mean, I'm taking off my friend hat and I'm putting on my coach hat. So there's clarity in how he knows like how I'm about to speak life into him. Like I'm putting on this coach hat, I'm about to rip you. Like I'm about to get on you. And so that's one of the things I've had to be super intentional about is being clear with the guys and like, hey man, we're down here eating, yeah, we'll chop it up and we'll have fun, talk about life, college, this, that, and the other. Like when we get in those meeting rooms or get on that football field, like we have a segment meeting today, and that's the first thing I'm gonna speak about is, man, like I'm not your bro. That's one of the things. Call me Ben. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm like, I don't care. Like it's not a big of a deal. And I was like, so I don't care if they call me Ben, Coach Boulware. Like just don't call me bro. And I've had a lot of the times where these guys will call me bro, and I've had like Sammy Brown will call me bro, and I've had to rip Sammy. I'm like, I'm not your friend. I'm not your bro. And so the challenges are me having to provide clarity with them. Like, yes, man, I'm 30. I'm the youngest position coach, but like, I'm not your friend. I'm not your bro. And so that's kind of the challenges. I have to like just walk that line well. But the benefits are that I can relate to the guys really, really well. Obviously, the game of college football has changed a lot since 2016, but college football at its core is still college football. And there's the challenges and the distractions that I faced are still relatively there. So I think that I can put it on their level easily because I'm younger and can relate to them and can have normal conversations with them, and they can be honest with me because there's just a little bit of relatability there. So I would say there's more benefits than negatives, and the negatives are like really not a negative, just something I have had to be aware of from a leadership perspective, and just to be conscious of and like walk that line well each day.
Talking to Thomas Allen, he was saying the relationship between you and his dad, you're both kind of psychopaths. What's the energy? How would you say the relationship is between you and Coach Allen in terms of the dynamic?
I would say it's great. I mean, I'm super thankful for Coach Allen, like just oozes wisdom. And y'all, him speaking for the past probably 20, 30 minutes, y'all could see like how wise he is, how good of a communicator he is, how passionate he is. So for me, again, like just when he speaks, I listen and I take notes because I just know how much experience he has, and to being a football coach, but also being a dad, to being a father, being a husband, and so the relationship is great, and it's been a really fun past couple months, and the dynamic of us three is fun. There's a lot of TA on the mic, has to calm him down a lot, and like I'm not going to tell Coach Allen to stop screaming, stop, like pull the mic back. You got to tell your dad, you got to chill. I can't hear anything. And so their dynamic is obviously super unique and great. TA has been awesome and has been a real just great help to our defense, getting things organized on the back end, helping out Nolan, Carter, Elijah, Corey, all those guys from just an organizational back-end standpoint. TA is super organized, and Coach Allen's super organized. So it definitely, Coach Allen brings a lot of experience that I'm super excited to work alongside with.
Coach, I remember I told Coach Allen a minute ago. I remember watching you out here in August, and you were as intense as out there as you were on game day. How do you get that level?
Caffeine.
That helps. How do you? So is that one of the ways you get?
That's the only way. Yeah, when you get someone asked me that a week ago, and I was like, it's all manufactured right now. When you're 18, 19, 20, and you're playing college football, you got pads on, you can kind of just like, it is what it is. You hit 30, I'd say you hit like 27, 28, you kind of got to manufacture a little bit. So a lot of caffeine intake. And like I typically on most days, I'll do probably 400 milligrams of caffeine. Because I have a responsibility to bring energy. Like I got a responsibility to like hold my guys accountable and lead them well. And then you got a 2.5 hour practice. Like you can't be quiet out there and just let me go with the flow. Like you got to bring some freaking juice. Like that's the responsibility is like being a position coach, and then just like in leadership in general, you got to demand it. And the 2.5 hour practice is pretty cooked. Like you get into period 18, 19, you're having to find it in places. So the massive caffeine intake definitely helps me. And but after, just crushed. Like I'm hard crash. And I'll just go sit in my locker for like 5 minutes, rubbing my face, drink some water, and then I'll get back into it. But a lot of caffeine.
But even these kids, they may not need the caffeine that you do. But, the doldrums of August and daily practice, they can wear on even players. How do you get your level of intensity out of these guys?
Demanding it. Man, I think leading by example. Doing it every single day. I think there's value in consistency and like being the same exact guy Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday and Friday and Saturday and Sunday, and because they know what to expect. And if I'm like quiet one day or I'm in a freaking pissed off mood another day, they won't really know what to expect from me. So I think I am aware that I need to be super consistent, and now that I've done this throughout spring, like that's like what I need to do. So it's like that's my responsibility, and that's what Coach Swinney pays me for, to like lead the guys well, bring a lot of freaking juice, bring a lot of experience and knowledge when it comes to leading the locker room well, being a great communicator, freaking demanding it out of the guys, and then ultimately being an elite linebacker. So like it's again like it's being a freaking adult and like doing the responsibilities we give them to you.
You talk about caffeine intake. What are your go-to methods? Just coffee or other things?
So we got a little coffee machine that's got some miles on it. It broke about a month ago, and the whole staff was just so mad because that thing a line every single day. So what I'll do just a normal, it's like white beer, and then I'll do espresso to top it off, mix it up. I'll do one, and that typically eats me through the day. But if we have practice, I'll do this, and then I have some like pre-workout. I couldn't even tell you what it's called, but it's freaking dangerous. Like it is actually. There's like I have one that's 375 and the one that's 400 milligrams, and this is like I think 80 grams caffeine. 400 is outrageous. I had a question. I'm like, dude, is this legal? Like he was like, yes, it is all clear. You're good to go. And I'm like, I'm gonna have a heart attack. So I'm gonna do it until I have a heart attack. But until then, we'll have fun. But yeah, it's this has been my go-to, and a lot of water just to make sure I'm hydrated well.
Talking about the sport's changed, obviously off the field, but since you played about 10 years ago, what do you think offenses are doing differently when you watch as a coach now?
Well, the offense are a lot faster, a lot more spread out, and it's very challenging for a linebacker like me to be. You have outliers that can be a 6-foot guy and running a 4.7. Like those guys can still be successful in this league, but I would say it's a little bit more challenging. You got to be like there's length. You got to be a little bit longer. You got to have longer arms. You got to be able to run because the game is so spread out. Again, like I was telling them earlier, like defense is defense. So there's only so many different things that you can do, like the disguises and being creative. But ultimately, like Coach Swinney is a 4-3 guy. Obviously, again, we'll get creative, but like 4-3, 4-2-5, it is what it is. Offense, like there are things that you can do, but like it still is college football. It's still football. It's still offense. Like not running a wing tee, but the difference is you got to be able to run to be. You don't have to be. It is better to be able to run fast in the game of college football now. You can still do it. Like guys like me can be successful, but like you got to do so many other things. Like I had to do to prepare and find an edge and like know where the ball was going because I knew that I'm limited. I got short arms. I'm 6 foot. I'm running the fastest I ever ran a 40 was a 4.63 at Clemson, and I think I ran a 4.7 on my pro day. So I had to do other things to like find an edge. And yeah, there's ways to do that, but like a lot of guys aren't willing to do that now. So being a 4.5 guy and a true 4.6 guy is very, very helpful in this age college football.
So you know, obviously, a lot of the guys that you're coaching just based off of watching in the last couple of years. But Jeremiah Alexander, what do you see out of him?
Dude,
that linebacker?
The freaking hardest working kid I have ever seen in my entire life. Truly. Like, I was telling Qualt, like, Mackenzie Alexander was one of the hardest working guys I've ever seen in my life. Obviously, had some challenges that he had as growing up, and it just like gave him a lens to look through. Like, man, I'm going to make it no matter what. And I lived with Mackenzie for a little bit, and me and Mackenzie got into it because he just worked, and he put me through the ringer a couple times. So I always Mackenzie Alexander, Grady Jarrett, one of the hardest guys I've ever seen work. Jeremiah Alexander's number one. Like, the dude lives and breathes it. Like, day in and day out, all he's doing is working his craft. And so for him, I'm just super pumped to see him experience some fruit to his labor because of how freaking hard he's worked. Like, it's outrageous. He's leading the team in accountability points. He's double anyone else, which is outrageous for in the months that he's been here to already be double anyone else. So just like does everything that he needs to do. He does more than what's required and expected. And he will experience fruit this year. Like, that formula, more times than not, works out. When you work super hard, you're a good person, you treat people the right way, and fruit typically comes of that. It's typically good fruit.
Seeing his career at Alabama kind of unfold, they kind of moved him around a little bit. Where do you guys kind of envision him? Like,
he's a backer. He's definitely a freaking backer.
Like in the middle of the field, do you see him rushing the quarterback?
A little bit of both. Yeah, we'll definitely get creative when we know that his experience when it comes to rushing the passer, and we know that he has a great arsenal and a lot of tools in his tool belt when it comes to rushing off the edge. So we'll use him in a multitude of different ways. He's super smart. He can be a three-position guy, and he's not going to be like, we're not going to lock him in a Mike. We're not going to lock him in a Will. I mean, he will get used in a lot of different ways, and that's our responsibility, is to maximize these guys' potential. And he's got a lot of tools in his tool belt, and then happens to also just be the hardest working kid you've ever met in your life. So you know he can handle all the positions. So we're going to stress him because he's going to play a lot of positions. And again, exciting for him to just put it on tape.
All right, thank you, Coach.
All right, fun stuff there. Happy for Ben Boulware. Man, he's come a long way the last few years. I appreciate the support of our sponsors for continuing to help make this happen. And, of course, thanks to every single one of you for taking the time to hit that play button. Cheers.